I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
For a lot of us, no decade describes nostalgia more than the 1980s. And not just for the cocaine. No, for many of us it was the age of stupid toys and classic cartoons, as well as a new wave of TV shows that really impacted the art form for decades to come. And no other show represents the 80s better than Miami Vice, the buddy cop procedural that featured fast cars, fast boats, and the latest music of the decade. A show that was so huge that people dressed like the characters, bought their cars, and of course emulated their hairstyles. Oh god, the hairstyles. When you think of iconic shows, you can't help but think of Miami Vice. And it's no wonder, since both of its showrunners have gone on to shape film and TV for generations. Love it or hate it, you can't deny that Miami Vice was a television institution. Even if you've never seen the show, you hear the words Miami Vice, and you instantly get the image of Crockett and Tubbs in their Armani suits, leading on a Ferrari Testarossa or Daytona Spider. There are not a lot of shows that can do that. But can this magic be brought back to TV today? Could Crockett and Tubbs put their Armani suits and Ray-Ban sunglasses back on? Can their Ferraris race after those bad guys once again? Let us find out in this installment of Gone But Not Forgotten. The origin of Miami Vice is up for debate. Some say that it was Brandon Tartikoff who came up with the idea of MTV Cops, while creator Anthony Yerkovich said he got the idea after learning about asset forfeiture, a complex and controversial ability that law enforcement possesses where they can take property or cash from people who are merely suspected of a crime. Regardless of who came up with this idea, it was a good one. Miami Vice premiered on Sunday, September 16th, 1984, and for 5 seasons mostly aired on Fridays at 10 p.m. until January 25th, 1990. The first season, however, was a flop, more than likely due to airing in the dreaded death slot, which killed its viewership. If it wasn't for Tartikoff, Miami Vice would have died right then and there. But he decided to air reruns of the show that summer and helped Miami Vice take off like a rocket, seeing as folks now had a reason to stay in and watch TV on a Friday night at 10 p.m. You know what, it seems like in these last few episodes I really have been kissing Brandon Tartikoff's ass a lot. Quick, someone name something stupid Brandon Tartikoff did for TV so that we can balance it out. A full second season of Miami Vice was ordered, and that's when people went nuts. The public fell in love with detectives Sonny Crockett and Ricardo Rico Tubbs, who chased down and arrested drug and weapon dealers in Miami, Florida, although they did branch out from drugs to prostitution and other crimes. Their weekly exploits were so popular that many claim it revitalized Miami, Florida as an exotic tourist trap, when previously it had been run down and mostly avoided by visitors. Let us begin by talking about the pilot, which involves Crockett and his former partner Jimmy Smits trying to track down the infamous drug lord Esteban Calderon, when Smits ends up getting himself killed. Don't worry, that's not the only bomb that Jimmy's been in. I can already feel the Lucas fans cry out in anger and suddenly bash their keyboards in pure rage. Calderon also happens to have killed the brother of New York detective Rico Tubbs, which forces Tubbs to fly down to Florida and seek his revenge. He winds up teaming up with Crockett, blah blah blah, and the two of them become partners. Cue the intro! Now, while I don't think the pilot is amazing, it does set up the show pretty well, as it eventually introduces Crockett and Tubbs' fellow detectives such as Gina Navarro Calabrese, Trudy Joplin, Stan Switek, among many others, all of whom are led by Lieutenant Marty Castillo. The role of Crockett was played by Don Johnson, who was the more popular of the duo, as he was handsome, funny, and could be really intense at times. One of my favorite episodes that really showcases Johnson's acting abilities would have to be Evan. In this episode, Crockett encounters a former vice cop he worked with by the name of Evan Freed, who happens to hate Crockett. It's revealed that when Crockett and Freed worked together, they also worked with another cop named Mike Orgel, who was revealed to be gay. When the department finds this out, Orgel is ostracized, and Evan harasses him using gay slurs, with Evan eventually transferring out of the department out of disgust. Orgel becomes so despondent that he intentionally walks into a robbery in progress unarmed, and ends up getting killed. Crockett is guilt-stricken over his death as he feels he should have defended Orgel, but instead stood by and did nothing. It's a truly great episode which I highly recommend you watch. But out of the two lead characters, the one I really liked was Tubbs, as played by Philip Michael Thomas. While Crockett was the pretty boy, Tubbs did all the work, actually trying to go undercover using accents and different outfits and creating characters to get close to drug dealers. While Crockett, for the majority of the show, just changed his name. That's it. Seriously, for a lot of this show, all Crockett does is wear his iconic clothes and brood. Tubbs also had a cool storyline where after he helped kill Calderon, he has an affair with Calderon's daughter, who gives birth to his son. But Calderon's son Orlando kills his sister and kidnaps their child, with Tubbs forced to hunt Orlando down, which leads to a great climactic episode. And just a side note here, the fact that these guys never got their cover blown constantly is insane to me. I mean, first off, Crockett sticks out like a sore thumb, and secondly, they operate in the same city, often interacting with the same low-level criminals. Now, wouldn't some drug czar say to himself, "Hey, didn't those guys talk to all my rival drug lords before they got arrested? I don't even think they got paid. Gee, might they be cops? After all, I did see one of them at the courthouse talking to cops. Oh well, I guess I better go and try to sell them illegal weapons." Why do drug kingpins keep falling for this? Do these criminals not talk to each other? Seriously guys, it's just stupid. Now as you can tell, a lot of megastars got their start in Hollywood through this show. Stanley Tucci, Bill Paxton, Ving Rhames, Ed O'Neill, Vincent D'Onofrio, just to name a few. It's amazing to watch these episodes and end up doing a double take, probably the most notable of them being the episode featuring a young Julia Roberts. But my personal favorite would have to be Bruce Willis. His episode in the first season was really good, where the young John McClane plays a weapons dealer who also happens to be an abusive husband.
This is formal.
Now you get in there! Change!
What do you want me to wear?
Hey, what do I care? Whatever you wear, you're gonna button it wrong.
Why don't you just go without me?
Here, you want something to wear? Wear this! There you go! Now you get dressed!
Yeah, look at that baby Bruce Willis back when he actually cared about acting. Who's a good actor? You are, Bruce! Yes, you are! Yes, you are! I gotta say though, my personal favorite character of this show was Lieutenant Marty Castillo, played by the legendary Edward James Olmos. And I think I really enjoyed his performance because his character was not the typical action movie angry boss.
Take from you, I got the California Ranger cousin doing all me a virgin, and the Darren Frank doing all me a virgin in my first cinema. Tiny Timber stepped going to the shoulder. So what? You ball peen jackametas, I'll slap about all the second Tuesday and take from you. You know, you think about it, married, which you better go down the beach, go down the beach. You know, you take the chickens off the back, you stick, you know that?
No, Lieutenant Castillo was calm and chillingly intimidating. He never said much, but his body language and especially his stare would make you crap your pants. In fact, I think I'm gonna go change my pants right now. But seriously, Edward James Olmos rocked that part, and I feel he really elevated this show. Olmos made a real effort to bring his character to life, telling the set decorator to remove all the props in Castillo's office in the first episode, so that it would look more realistic because this character would be moving into a new office. And he actually pissed off Don Johnson because he asked him to close the door like a detective on the force would have to do after speaking to a superior. He also ticked off Philip Michael Thomas with this little interaction.
Outfit trademark. Lombard.
Anybody can buy a 22.
Hey, what side are you on?
Don't ever come up to my face like this again, detective.
Come on.
Yeah, that was not in the script. That reaction was really Thomas about to clock him in the face. God, Olmos was awesome. Most actors would have phoned a part like this in, by just following the lines and giving the bare minimum. But Olmos really wanted this character to leap from the page, and in doing so, I think he inspired the other actors on the show to do so as well. One of the most popular episodes of the show is actually ranked number 90 in TV Guide's best episodes of all time. The fourth episode of the second season called Out Where the Buses Don't Run. In this episode, God, Well, okay, the character's name is Hank Walden, but he was God on Quantum Leap, and that means he's God here, okay? I mean, just listen to the sound effect where he introduces himself to Castillo.
Who are you? Hank Wilden.
How'd you get in here?
I walked in. Good security. Hey.
No, I did not put that in there. That really was God altering reality. Anyway, God is a former detective who just got out of a mental institution for losing his mind, after a drug lord he was chasing for years got off on a technicality. You can tell he's crazy because of such interactions as this.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Lieutenant. Put her there for a retired old cop.
While you gentlemen were out window shopping for $1,200 suits, I learned that Mr. Frederick Constanza is lunching tomorrow at the Ocean Club at 1 o'clock in the p.m. Care to guess the menu?
Let me ask you something, Hank.
You can ask, Sonny, but they don't have to tell you.
There's Ray Pinchata back there, not Constanza, and definitely not Tony Arcaro.
Earth to Crockett, Earth to Tubbs. I'm giving it all I got, but I can't hold it. Earth to Crockett and Tubbs.
Okay, someone needs their meds. So God wanted to help Crockett and Tubbs capture the drug lord that he thinks is working with other criminals to smuggle drugs into Miami. I won't spoil this episode for you, but I will say that the ending is truly impressive. But quite frankly, I don't think that episode should have been the top 100 list, but that's just me. I personally think there are better episodes, such as Mirror Image, but we'll get to that episode later. Now, even though Yurkovich created the show, he handed off the show running duties for the first 2 seasons to Michael Mann, Michael Mann? The same Michael Mann who wrote and directed one of the best crime movies ever made, Heat? Holy a shit! That's right, the man behind Heat, Collateral, and Manhunter was the initial showrunner for Miami Vice. In fact, Mann often gets confused as the show's creator, much to his annoyance. But let's be honest, Mann made the show, as he created a lot of its iconography. His work on the first 2 seasons resulted in so many great episodes, some of which are my favorites from the entire run of the show. But after the 2nd season, the show running duties were handed over to... Yes, the legendary producer who created the Law and Order franchise, Dick Wolf. Wolf drastically changed Miami Vice, most notably in the look of the show. They no longer wore the same bright colors that were once iconic with the series. And the stories also had the standard Dick Wolf style of being deadly serious and inspired by true events. It was almost like a testing ground to what Law and Order would become. Although the changes were pretty drastic, I think the later seasons did have some good aspects to them. But I gotta admit that the new look Tubbs and Crockett got did not turn out well. Especially Tubbs, I mean, man, just look at his face! It's like his beard and his face are at war with each other. It just looks weird. Plus, Crockett had some serious hair issues. But nevertheless, there were some good episodes, such as the aforementioned 3-parter Mirror Image, Hostile Takeover, and the very fun episode Redemption in Blood, where Crockett suffers a head injury and suddenly believes he's a murderous drug dealer. I did, however, find that a lot of stinkers tended to happen on Wolf's watch, the most infamous of them, in my opinion, being the Season 4 episode Missing Hour, which involves a man dying and his body mysteriously disappearing, and Detective Trudy Joplin having to investigate. She comes across the man's abandoned house when she sees James Brown, and suddenly everything turns into a crappy green screen you would make on a bootleg version of After Effects called Future Reactions with a Z instead of an S, while you're drunk and suffering from a head injury. I mean, what the hell did I just watch? No, seriously, it's been a few weeks since I've seen this episode, and I still have no idea what I saw. And it gets more bizarre from there, with Tubbs and Crockett encountering UFOs, Men in Black, and even Chris Rock. Plus, Trudy keeps encountering some kind of symbolism involving a jar of peanut butter. It's, I don't know what the hell this means. Every minute, this whole peanut butter thing just gets weirder and weirder until we reach the end, when... What? I mean, what? I have no words!
What a twist!
No, fuck you, Shyamalan! Another bad episode is one which I happen to love, called Viking Bikers from Hell. This was one of the really fun bad episodes, particularly because it guest stars everyone's favorite screaming character actor, Reb motherfucking Brown. If you don't know who Reb Brown is, I implore you to go track down some of his supposed films, such as You're the Hunter from the Future, or his most famous role in Space Mutiny, which of course was featured on Mystery Science Theater 3000. He also played Captain America in 2 1979 TV movies, but I would skip those because those movies don't feature his most famous trait as an actor, the infamous Reb Brown scream. And in this episode, Mr. Brown does not disappoint, as he plays a psycho biker on a deadly revenge spree that Tubbs and Crockett have to stop. I just love how over-the-top Reb gets with his performance here. Trust me folks, this is one episode you've gotta see. But alas, the show was eventually cancelled, as the changes that started in Season 3 alienated the casual viewers and only kept the hardcore fans around. Then the show encountered more trouble when it went up against Dallas and got creamed in the ratings. The writing was on the wall, and even Wolf said that it was pretty much done and unsalvageable. And so Tubbs and Crockett put their guns away and bought themselves a timeshare in Orlando. Since the end of the show, Don Johnson went on to do other shows such as Nash Bridges and the HBO Watchmen show, along with acclaimed performances in such hit movies as Knives Out and Django Unchained, while Olmos went on to have himself an amazing career in both film and TV. As for the other stars, each of them went on to do multiple things with various degrees of success. But Philip Michael Thomas's career ended up petering out, with him even becoming the spokesperson for the Psychic Readers Network. After a few years, Thomas decided to finally retire from acting, and what a shame that is. Still, he did come back out of retirement to provide the voice of Lance Vance in the Grand Theft Auto video game series with both Vice City and Vice City Stories, both of which were stylistically influenced by Miami Vice. So, as always, we ask, should this show come back? No. Okay, fine, I'll elaborate. Here's the problem with Miami Vice. Too many shows have taken Miami Vice's DNA and built on it. Some of them being similar, like Burn Notice, and some of them only being partially influenced, like Elementary. There are dozens of police shows that have taken some kind of root from Miami Vice, no matter how obscure they may be. So how can you bring it back and have a new take on it? You just can't. At least I can't figure out a way to. Michael Mann himself tried to make a Miami Vice movie by presenting it as something more edgy, but it just left me and many other audiences with a feeling of meh. I would rather have Miami Vice stay in the 80s than turn into something like Hawaii Five-0. I know folks are gonna get mad at me for saying that, but the rebooted Hawaii Five-0 really wasn't anything special. I'm sorry. It just felt like you could remove the title and the characters' names, and it would still be like every other cop show on TV. I don't know about you folks, but I'm tired of seeing that happen to classic shows. If you're gonna bring a show back, then give it a new take and a new edge. Some TV shows are just too ingrained into a particular decade, and when you try to change it, it just dilutes or destroys the concept of the show. However, if any of you feel like taking a stroll down memory lane and want to put a blazer on in 90-degree weather, then go to the NBC app and binge your heart out on Miami Vice. I think you'll have yourself a very good time. I'm Jesse Shade, speaking on behalf of David Arroyo for JOBLO.com. And thank you for watching our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our JOBLO Videos channel. Tell your friends who like this sort of content, and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest videos. We're an independent company that appreciates all of your support. And we will see you next time for the next installment of Gone But Not Forgotten.